So Meleika, last week we did an episode with some very special guests about HBCUs and why they are important, not just for the Black students, but for America. And I mean, the students were great. Who did we have?
Oh my gosh, we had Lila Grant from Spelman College. We had Daniel Miller from Howard University. We had your daughter, Tia L. Ford. She's attending Howard, going in as a freshman. And we had Pierce Nabors going to Morehouse. He'll be entering as a freshman as well. So, I mean, I loved their spirit and their energy about it all.
I mean, it was amazing how they defended HBCUs and all that they stand for. And, you know, today we get to hear some more of their excitement and their push to promote HBCUs in America, and to other Black students that may not know about HBCUs, may have never heard of an HBCU. And so we were lucky to have them for the first episode, and to continue the dialogue today is just fascinating. I hope people will stay tuned.
Oh, yes. A lot of success stories coming out of HBCU. So let's hear some more.
All right, let's go.
Now, I love that because it just shows some brotherly love. They were welcoming the freshmen, the upperclassmen. Are you ready for that, Pierce?
Totally ready for it. I mean, you could just see the brotherhood in the video, and all the people hyping up the freshmen. You know, it just looks real. It looks genuine, and I can't wait for it. And the fact that I have Spelman right next door and Clark, Atlanta, there's no other feeling like it.
You hear that? He's looking forward to those Spelman women.
Hey, yeah, now. I wanted to say something profound, but you had to go and say that. It's not even like that. I don't know if y'all saw me, but as they were doing that chant, you know, I was over here saying the chant because I know the chant as a Spelman woman. You know, that Spelman Morehouse brotherhood and sisterhood. It's so real. I love Morehouse. It's not Spelman, but I love Morehouse. It is really right across the street. You know, all the social events that actually happen in the AUC, Morehouse, Clark, Spelman. It's all of us together. And we all love and support one another. And just, yeah, that was amazing. If I was a guy, well, I experienced that at Spelman. But that whole just welcoming, you know, that NSO week, that new student orientation is like no other. It's such a memorable experience. You feel that love. It's like, whoa, I'm supposed to be here. They want me here. They're accepting me here. It is really like no other.
Well, are there any notable people that we want to shout out before we get off of Spelman and Morehouse? Who are there notables that you want to shout out that graduated from Spelman, Lila?
Stacey Abrams, next governor of Georgia.
All right.
Proud graduate of Spelman College. Yes. There's a lot of people. I can't think off the top of my head.
What about you, Pierre?
I will shout out my sister, Spencer Nabors, who graduated class of 2020, who is now at Northwestern.
I don't know if I told y'all that, but I graduated with Spencer and I know her.
Oh, same class and everything?
Yes.
Well, that's see. And I would say, I think Dr. King went to Morehouse, right?
Yes.
He did.
All right, let's go right to Howard now. And Tia and Daniel, you guys be prepared.
The first thing that I noticed when I stepped foot on campus here at Howard is the sense of community.
People are very accepting, people are talented, they're welcoming.
Came up during Accepted Student Day last year, and I visited, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the people, I fell in love with the campus, I fell in love with Washington, D.C., and it was home.
I always wanted to come here, and I always wanted to play Black women's lacrosse.
I chose Howard because growing up, I went to predominantly white institutions. And so I was always disconnected and, trying to be someone and something that I'm not.
I would go to my history class and my professor would talk about how slavery wasn't that big of a deal or how the civil rights movement, it was only a few months.
People here look at me for my skills. They don't look at me to fill a quota. Now I'm able to be Dante versus the Black kid or the token African-American in the classroom.
I really appreciated their stance on equal opportunity for everyone.
When I decided that I wanted to transfer somewhere else, Howard was my first pick because I wanted to be around people that look like me and understand the things that I go through.
But it's so diverse.
We have people from the Caribbean, we have people from
Africa, and
I was born in South Korea.
There's somebody for everybody here. If you're into anime, there's people who love anime. If you're into art, there's tons of us crazy art kids.
There's this stereotype that Howard is a party school.
I also expected it to just be a party school.
There are a lot of parties every weekend, but a lot of people come here and they pull out a 4.0. They can party and also do their work here.
Everyone has the entrepreneurial spirit. It's eminent everywhere on campus. And that kind of fostered my business, DR Fitness, and we go by a motto of work, it's simple. And I started it last year in July 2014, and I became certified in January of this year.
There are a lot of people with different entrepreneurial endeavors and that I have seen them build from the ground up.
There's a vast network that comes along with Howard.
I happen to be the CEO of Buttons by Jordan. I specialize in promotional pins for different organizations and corporate events, and I'm also an official vendor for Howard University.
I learned what it's like being around other smart Black people who can rub shoulders and make me the better individual that I can be.
I've learned how to communicate. Since being at Howard, I think that's the number one thing.
I've become more in tune and focused with what I want to do.
You'll want to start something you wouldn't even think of starting before you got here. You'll want to join an organization to be a part of something and stand for something.
Whether you want to be the next doctor or lawyer or actor or artist or president of the United States,
Howard will provide all the tools for you to do, have, or be anything you want.
Come to Howard, that is it.
There's no other place to be than the Mecca.
You will have so many opportunities open up to you that you won't get at other HBCUs because you're in Washington, D.C.
Welcome to Howard.
We'll get Daniel's reaction, and we'll see what Tia expects when she steps foot on campus for the first time. Daniel, what do you say?
I would say he's right. What he was saying was right on the head. There's something for everybody. I promise you, there is not one thing you can't do at Howard. If there's something that's not already started, you can create that. If you want to join something, you know what? I know who to talk to for that. Like, they have all those opportunities where you can literally do everything. And the whole, like the stigma, people at Howard have too much fun. Well, you could have that fun conversation, but then have that real conversation with them, and then see what they're actually doing. Because, like, you might see them out, but what are they doing Monday through Friday? Like, what are they really putting their time into from 8 to 8? Like, I know people who only go out on a Saturday, like, night, and then the rest of the time they'll spend their whole time working to try to get a degree in that 4-year period, or to have their own business. Like, I have a lot of friends that have their own businesses, including myself, where they start their own business at Howard. Howard kind of like creates that hustle, creates that drive. Like, I honestly don't think I know I didn't have that before I went to Howard. Like, I didn't have that, oh yeah, I got to get mine like the same way I have it now. Like, you just around all these people who are chasing their like bag, chasing their dream, chasing all of that. You got to do that too, And it's like you're gonna get forced to. Honestly, like you're just forced to, because you're just around so many people who are just doing this. on a daily, every single like second basis, you're just gonna do it yourself.
You're gonna do it. So, Tia, what do you say? I mean, you visited that college, that university. When you see that video, what's your feeling and what you hear Daniel saying?
When I was watching the video and listening to what Daniel was saying, it's giving me chills. I'm very anxious to step foot on that campus again. I'm really excited. I'm excited to find myself further, and I'm just excited to see all these different people from around the world that look just like me, and we all hustling together, and we all want to succeed together. So I'm just really honored to say that I'm going to Howard and to going to a HBCU.
Tia, what was it like being at Oak Park and River Forest High School that really made you want to go to a HBCU?
Going to Oak Park and River Forest High School, I was surrounded by a lot of white people, and I found myself not being myself, trying to fit in, trying to meet their standards. But I also was surrounding myself by the African American people that was in the school, and I found myself being myself with them. So I didn't want to keep switching roles, you know, being in that school. I didn't want to keep
code switching.
Going through that. So I feel like going to Howard, it's gonna help me find myself and just be happy.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Meleika.
There's a term for that, code switching? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
I haven't mastered that yet.
Grant, what's the code
switching?
Yeah, code switching is different contexts and different social settings. You turn on a different, switch. It's a switch. You turn a switch on when you're in this setting and you turn it off in the other setting. And I really like what you said, Tia, actually, about being able to go and be around the Black people, because when you are around them, you can be yourself. At a HBCU, being in that space, it gives you the fortitude and it gives you the integrity to go into any space and be confident and be honest and truthful about who you are, and unapologetically at that. So you're gonna find that, and you're gonna be like that, and you're gonna go back to your white people and be like, yep, this is who I am, and I'm gonna show you all who I am. And if you don't like it, then you can go over there, but you should get on board because I'm pretty cool.
Yeah, well, Meleika, we need to make sure that Lila and Daniel get some words on why people should go to HBCUs, because they've experienced it. Give us the people that's listening, and are you recruiting more Black people to attend HBCUs?
And I want to hear about some of the successful people who have graduated Howard. We haven't heard some of the greats.
Yeah, right. Lila, are you recruiting?
I'm not personally. I can, but if anyone,
are you recruiting, but do you highly recommend HBCUs for Black people?
Oh, definitely. There's no other place you need to be for undergraduate than an HBCU, especially in today's day and age. We're moving into, and I'm experiencing this firsthand, having graduated. We're moving into a space where a bachelor's degree, a lot of people are getting a bachelor's degree. Back in the day, getting a bachelor's degree, you got a leg up. You got that additional education. So that's going to give you a lot more opportunity in the world. But there's so many opportunities out here that don't require you to have a bachelor's degree. A lot of people making their way without going to college. So I think the focus of college now, if you're really trying to go that educational pathway and say, I did all of this schooling, so now I could get to this point, that's really not going to happen until the graduate or medical level. Because again, a lot of people are getting bachelor's degrees. So that focus, what you want to do with a bachelor's degree. And I'm a teacher as well. I teach high school chemistry, and I teach Black kids as well. So I have had so many conversations with my students because they think going to a HBCU is not going to prepare them for the world. It's not going to give them what they need. I'm like, it couldn't be further from the truth, because they think I'm going to go to college and study this thing because I want to be in this career. Undergraduate's not about that anymore. It's, I want to go to college to find myself as a professional, find myself in this academic space at who I want to be professionally. A lot of people get a degree in a science area and then they go and do something completely unrelated to science, or they do something in business and do something completely unrelated to business. So whatever you major in, whatever your studies are in undergraduate, yes, that is something that is important and that you want to focus on. And if you're able to have that knowledge and have that forward thinking to know I need to study this so I can do that thing, that's great. But the most profound thing that anyone can get from their undergraduate experience is finding who they are, establishing themselves as an individual person and individual adult. And for Black people, there's no better place to do that than at HBCU. They're going to give you everything that you need. You're going to get the education that you need to go do anything that you want to. But that piece of finding who you are and understanding yourself and knowing who you are and knowing what you want in your heart, you're not going to get that experience any other place at a HBCU.
I went to Spelman College.
I went to Howard University.
I went to Coppin State University.
I went to Xavier University.
I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C.
I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood my whole life.
I was always like 1 out of 3 Black people in every class.
I didn't really love me because I was comparing myself to the girls around me.
Well, my high school counselor told me I wasn't smart enough to go to college. Not even being told go to community college. No, I was straight told to go to the military. They were one of the schools that gave me a chance.
I took a trip to Howard when I was in 8th grade, and as soon as I stepped on campus, I was like, this is the place that I need to be.
My favorite thing about going to an HBCU, it was so many beautiful Black faces. I've never seen that many Black faces that were all beautiful and unique in their own right.
You had sisters there, you had brothers there, people who felt like your cousins, and teachers and professors who felt like your mom and your dad. And there are so many different nationalities and so many different ethnicities that make it what it is.
It was just so nice to be around other little Black girls, and we were like this big Black girl cohort of like 500 students just being amazing and doing all these amazing things, and it was something that I had never seen before.
I never thought that I would be around different people from different places and we would all still connect in the same way.
I had a friend who was a Black, gay, conservative Republican, and I would have never had that experience anywhere else.
It's all just a big, loving, melting pot of people.
It's the history and the foundation that you learn, not only as a person, but as the African American community itself. You're so enriched with knowledge.
I think I learned everything about myself and about my history and my past from going to an HBCU, and I don't think I could have gotten that at a PWI.
I think that if you can succeed in that environment, then you can succeed in any environment.
I love my HBCU because we hold each other down. We are a big family.
I love my HBCU strictly because of the community.
I love my HBCU because of the sisterhood.
There's no other place where I can go and look around and see all of these beautiful, wonderful Black women doing all of these amazing things. I love my HBCU because it is the Mecca.
I love the culture, I love the history, I love the people.
I learned to love me.
Oh, there we have it. There's people from across different campuses and why they love him. I'm sure you guys feel the same way.
Yeah.
Daniel,
Yes.
could you give the future students that's here with you on the panel and those that may be watching, are there challenges going to HBCU, and give them some encouragement of what they should expect?
I would say first off, everybody needs to apply to at least one HBCU. That's my biggest thing. I was what I was thinking of what to say was my whole, when I was applying for colleges, I applied to 7 colleges and only one was HBCU, which was Howard. I was gonna do engineering at whatever school. I was really looking at going to Penn State, Milwaukee School of Engineering. And then Howard kind of came back in my mind. And honestly, when I look back at it, I really think that if I were to have gone to one of those schools, I don't think I would be the same person I am today. I feel like I'm on the road right now, and this is what will happen to everybody that goes to HBCU versus a PWI. A PWI, you'll be on the road to becoming, you're gonna find yourself. You're gonna find yourself at whatever school you go to, you'll find yourself. But there's a difference between finding yourself as a man or a woman and versus finding yourself as a Black man or a Black woman. You're gonna find, you gotta specify that, because we gotta realize where we are in this world right now, that we're Black men and women, and we're young, and we are the target, and people, the white man don't want to see us win, and you're gonna win, you're gonna beat them, you're gonna be few steps ahead being at HBCU versus that person at a PWI who's already used to that racism, that racism that's, that's zipped up versus, the Black people at Howard or at any HBCU, they're going to go like, yeah, we know about this. And we're going to make sure y'all beat that because we're going to make sure our students are good. So I feel like you have, like, that's one thing that I'm on the road to right now is if I had went to Penn State, and I probably would have liked Penn State, but I'd be a man. Like, of course, I'd be on the road to becoming a man. But, how right now I feel like I'm on the road to becoming a Black man. Like, the business I created is a hair business at Howard. I couldn't have done that at any other school. I literally could have not done that. I have a hair extension company that is only Black people. Like, Black people do that. Like,
Wait,
only
what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I started my own hair business. It's called Coco Rose Hair Extensions. It is a Black hair company. I am a Black beauty supplier, and I created that only because of Howard. I would have been at Penn State playing soccer. Yeah, that's cool, but I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing now. I wouldn't have that entrepreneurship mindset. I wouldn't have my hands in everything. Like I feel like, Howard, Spelman, Morehouse, everybody I know that goes to just those three, they have their hands in absolutely everything. Like, you can get your hands in everything if they're not in everything. What you want to do? Hey, I want to model. Oh yeah, that's easy. Like, that's easy. I know people, I know good friends of mine who are on Calvin Klein, who are on Vogue, who are really getting flown out across the country to go, do photography, to go do videography, to go be an engineer, to go do makeup. And these are just the people I'm thinking of in my head are literal phone calls. You're not getting that at a PWI. You really, really aren't.
Well, Meleika, I think he really loves HBCU, and so does Lila. Meleika,
yes.
We just got to get a final word from the father of what parents should expect when applying with their children, applying for, because we run out of time, applying for HBCU. What do you recommend?
I think for me that what won it over for Pierce was a personal touch. So you can always do your research. You can always go online and learn just about everything from these schools. But when the admissions director from Morehouse took the time to come to Chicago and to actually speak to would-be students, to seniors, and to gather together some folks who had graduated also from Morehouse. I think that personal touch does it every time. And for my daughter, Spencer, she was set on going to a particular school. It was a white school. We lived in Bloomfield, Michigan. She was determined to do that. She went to a college fair, and someone from the admissions department from Spelman was there that day. And from the moment that woman talked to my daughter, she completely changed her perspective. And I think that's true for Pierce as well. So I would say that personal touch is everything. So for parents that have children that may be interested in going to HBCUs, look and see when admissions directors are going to be in your area. And I just want to throw this out. I think that churches and nonprofit organizations like the NAACP should host these admissions fairs as well. And they should always be going on year in and year out for areas like Metro Chicago.
Fantastic. And Meleika?
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming on today, expressing how beautiful going to a Black college is. I didn't realize that it still had this stigma on it. I thought that was in the past, back in my day. But I mean, documentation beats conversation. It looks like a whole lot of success coming out of Black colleges. And Daniel, I hope you're teaching natural hair care too, selling that. As well as the extensions. You got to give us your website when we get off air, because I would love to support you. I don't wear extensions, but I am about natural hair.
Yep.
And
go ahead, I'm sorry. I also will start doing hair care products for natural hair. So I'll get into
good. Thank you. But I want to say I'm so proud of everybody on here and everyone watching. Please look into going to a Black college, because there are definite benefits to it. And as Pastor Nabors said, talk to the admission counselors. talk to them.
Well, I appreciate all of you as well. And we will let those rising freshmen have something to say next time. They haven't earned the right to say nothing else. We're going to close out right now with just a little bit of another college. And, you know, these Black universities and colleges are known for their bands. So we're in with a nice little band. You know, it's not Spelman, Howard, or Morehouse, but it is. Let's end with this.
That's fine, even though I was in the band, but that's fine.
Oh, hey now.
Like I was the drum major of the band or anything like that.
Nice.
Go ahead,
Wow.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So while we're pulling it up, did you guys see the Drumline? How was Drumline compared to a HBCU? Was Drumline filmed at a HBCU?
I don't know if it was filmed there, but not only was I a drum major, but I was on the drum line at Morehouse's band, and I could tell you that experience.
Yeah. What I actually know, Drumline was actually supposed to represent a HBCU. It wasn't a HBCU, but it was supposed to be similar. And Howard, we're not that good. We're not that good at band, but y'all got us. Yeah, y'all got us beat in that department. But
so that's why we couldn't find them.
We gonna see y'all. We gonna see y'all in September.
Oh yeah, we'll see y'all in New York.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
We'll see y'all in New York.
We'll see.
I'm gonna be there too.
We'll see what y'all band's about.
Yeah, we probably gonna lose that one, but yeah.
Look like they understand their weaknesses. Let's go for it, and we appreciate you all. We're in with this.